Welcome back to Regular Guys Outdoors. I'm Chris. Today is Friday the 16th, and I have today, tomorrow, and Sunday to hunt on a couple of tags. I thought I had some next week, but I had my dates messed up. So it's only been, what, 5 days or so since Phil left from all that duck hunting, and I'm out in a place where I've hunted for whitetail 2 years ago. So these are whitetail tags I have. I have an either sex and a doe tag. I think with the buck tag I'm going to be a little bit picky at first, and so what I really hope to do is find either a good buck, obviously, or a doe. Since I didn't get any elk, I need to start making sure I get a little bit of deer meat in the freezer. That way it takes the pressure off of my Missouri and Wisconsin trip too. I'd like to get a little bit of something out here. I was hoping to have standing corn like it was 2 years ago, where I was able to sneak up on a buck, but there is no standing corn. But what I did see in the ag fields on the huntable side is that there's a spot where there's a lot of green. I don't know if it's some kind of a winter cover crop or something, but it's between a harvested cornfield and this other field that kind of looks just like it's hay. It almost doesn't look like anything's been planted since the corn 2 years ago. It just doesn't look very appetizing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to walk down kind of this fence line and see if I can find some good trails. And then if I find some good fresh trails, my guess is it's going to be down there toward the green stuff. Did have a little snag coming up here. Hit this oversized load that took up about 1 3/4 lanes coming up. It was kind of ridiculous, and they wouldn't even scoot over when they had the chance to let people pass. I had at least 6 cars behind me and then a big rig, and we got to a spot where it finally widened up and you could see a real long way. So I got around them jokers and nobody followed me for some reason. They must have liked sitting behind them doing 45 in a 65-mile-an-hour zone. So I don't know why everybody else didn't follow, but anyway, we are now here to hunt. I think it's about 2:30 in the afternoon, so I've got a little less than 5 hours or so. I'll have to check my exact legal times, but 2 years ago when I was hunting here, I had a whitetail doe tag. So of course I could have easily killed a whitetail buck, mule deer buck, mule deer doe. And I guess that's just how that cookie crumbles sometimes. See how we do. You can probably tell there's a pile of wind. So the fields I'm looking at are here. The wind is coming like this, and there's fields back here that are on the other side of this drainage. Those fields over there are getting harvested right now. There's some harvesting operations. So I'm hoping that forces them to come over here, which is where I'll be with the wind in my favor. Hopefully. For some reason, I just don't like these things. I can't read their googly eyes. I can't tell what they're thinking, and they're just way too big for their own good. I would have thought that this green stuff would have been more popular, but I don't see any sign over there. Well, I'm afraid that was a big bust. I really didn't see any sign, and if I would have been here a few hours earlier, I probably would have just picked up and moved, because the sign was weak, real weak. I didn't even see any poop, and you always see deer poop. I think the plan is tomorrow I'm going to go into a spot where I think they might be leaving some feed and heading to bedding on a different parcel of land, and then later that morning, probably still somewhat early to mid-morning, move back a bit further where 2 years ago when I was back there were some rubs and scrapes. That's the plan. I certainly don't have them figured out. Tonight I got a place to camp and do a simple dinner, pack my bag with some food and stuff so I can stay out a little bit tomorrow. Supposed to get down to, I think, 28 tonight, and then up to 70, 75 tomorrow. Pretty big swing in temperatures. We're gonna go with this for starters. I'm gonna follow up with a little bit of this. Well, this morning's synopsis is I got down to my spot and the wind was workable when I got down there, but then by legal it had switched and was not good. So I'm sitting there for a little while and I'm listening to turkeys way in the distance just going crazy in the tree. It was after legal a good bit, and then I heard a shot up there. I knew it wasn't a muzzleloader, so I knew it wasn't a deer hunter, so I figured a turkey got shot. And a little while later, a muzzleloader blasted near me, and it was probably the vehicle I saw in the first parking lot on my way up. Then after a while, I went walking. I ran into him. He was cleaning a doe, real nice whitetail doe. And as we're standing there, I look over and I see a little whitetail buck. So I go and try to make a stalk on it. It disappeared. I go back, standing there with the guy. He's got the turkey hunters were with him, so they were coming down. They were bringing a cart and everything so they could get the deer out. And I look over and I see antlers. I see like light antlers through the top of the grass, and then they turned. So I hit him with the binos. Much bigger buck than that other one. Don't know where that guy went. I was trying to get a little bit closer to him. Don't know what happened. Now, I've been telling myself, because I have an either sex and a doe tag, don't shoot a little buck early on. But if that little buck would have kept walking the fence line, no promises are made. Well, I did not see this in the dark. I didn't knock this over, it was already down. But I ran over the barbed wire. Now I gotta at least back out over it. Later on in the morning, I went back into an area where 2 years ago I saw some rubs and scrapes, and the plan was go back there, find something promising, and just something that shows their activity is back there, and just sit down for a while. Well, I didn't find anything. The places I had marked rubs, there was nothing. And so I ended up just sitting in a kind of a random spot for about 90 minutes. This is one of those historic roosts where the birds roost a lot. I don't know if it's still active, but well, the wind has now jumped about 100 degrees in the wrong direction. So I'm out of here. I'm gonna go somewhere else just to go somewhere to sit where the wind will be in my favor. But I just don't want to risk bumping that deer on the off chance he's coming down that way tonight, and hopefully I can improve my odds in the morning by not messing with him tonight and getting the wind wrong tonight. Kind of sucks because I've been sitting here doing nothing and the wind is really starting to come out of the southeast, so that's not working. Well, I went to another parcel of public land. It had this really good looking draw with all these cottonwoods and stuff in it. So I walked up it real nice with the wind in my favor. I didn't bump anything out, so I looped around with my wind not in my favor, going back down the draw. Didn't bump anything out. Can't believe nothing was bedded in that draw. No muleys, no whitetails, no pronghorn, nothing. Nothing. So then I came back over the spot I was yesterday and figured I'd just go somewhere and sit down. But I mean, there's so much zero sign. No sign. So much nothing when it comes to sign. In the last hour of the day, the wind was coming out of the northeast, which would have been perfect for where I was earlier to try to set up for that big buck to go back to the ag field. So if the wind doesn't change, I don't know what I'm gonna do tomorrow other than try to play the wind any way I can to get into that little spot where the guy killed the doe. I saw the little buck and saw the big buck. All that was within about 100 yards, 125 yards of each other, all three things. It was a pretty good sunset today though. See you in the morning. Good morning, it's Sunday morning and it is cold. Yesterday I thought it was supposed to be cold and I was overdressed. This morning, I don't know if I'm going to be dressed enough. Really nasty. I don't know how long I'm going to make it this morning. I also saw 2 people leave the campsite, and if it's who I think it is, if it's the folks I talked to, I kind of know where they're going, which sucks because I wanted to go there. So if there's somebody parked in that first parking spot, then I'm gonna go to my second parking spot, but I won't be able to walk down. It's kind of where I wanted to go, is kind of halfway between the parking spots. So if they're there, I'll stay a little further to the north, give them a little room. But I mean, to tell you what, it is cold. Oh, there's some deer. I couldn't tell if they were whitetail or mule deer. Someone was in the first parking space, and I'm pretty sure they were with the guy I talked to yesterday, because he said those folks had a dually, and so that was a dually over there. So I'm at my quote-unquote my parking spot, so I'm going to just stay a little bit further north than I wanted to, just because I'm sure they're down where he was yesterday. This morning the coffee did its trick, and that was very inconvenient considering the weather and the layers. Then when you get redressed again, you got to get your layers back right to try to keep the wind out. So it's about an hour before, well, it's a little less than an hour before legal light, but it's probably about an hour until shooting light. So we'll get our stuff together and start heading down slowly so we don't break a sweat going down in. It's cold. So here's my setup that morning. If that big buck follows the same way he did yesterday, he'll pop out on my right. So I'm sitting there for a while, and at my 3 o'clock I can look through the brush and into the next opening or meadow area, and I see legs go by and another set. Then I see 2 deer bodies. I got at least 3 deer on my right. So I get up and I start moving north to try to parallel them, and I realize that they must have snuck past the guy that I know is over there. So I'm trying to parallel them and get to the north and get to where the openings connect, or at least get into a spot where I can see them. Then I hear a shot. That guy's a lot further north than I thought he would be. So I take a knee thinking I'm going to have a herd of deer going busting through. Well, it doesn't happen, and then a little while later, another shot. And then I see this. So I go and find the guy, tell him what I heard, tell him what I saw, and point him in the right direction. So just, I mean, I don't know, he could be anywhere from like there to, I'm assuming he stopped somewhere between there and right over here, left or right of that green tree, but okay. Well, eventually the guy's friend who I talked to yesterday, who killed the doe, came to help him look. So I helped him look, and we must have looked for 90 minutes, and this was the only blood sign we found. Happened to be on 2 chunks of deadfall. What's that saying? It says, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. Well, yeah. You would think I wouldn't run over that 2 days in a row. But unlike yesterday, I am not going to just back out over them. I'm going to help myself out and hopefully prevent something. Put my floor mats on each side. Well, that's it for me here on this hunt. But I do get to come back here in December with my rifle with the same tags, so I'll be looking forward to that. But in the meantime, I rambled on and got distracted, but we've got a lot more whitetail hunting to do. We've got Missouri and Wisconsin coming up, big road trip, so stay tuned. Hope you liked this video. If you did, give us that old thumbs up. Hit that subscribe button down there, and as always, thanks for watching.